Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Insights Live with Learning with Doc Libs. And this Monday, we're going to answer a very important question. We are doing this live podcast because we wanted to share to our teachers, no? And we're going to answer this question: how do we focus longer? And this is designed for teachers who are actually learning new things. And as we all know, teachers are very well challenged right now. We have a lot of things to really learn because, as we all know, we are the persons who will be delivering learning to our learners. And that is something that we also need to be ahead in terms of the knowledge, skills, and the necessary competencies. And teachers also need to finish their masteral, doctoral degree and conduct research. And this requires a lot of focus. So the question now is, how do we focus longer in a particular task? And this is important in our career. So in order for us to really learn how to extend it, it's important to understand what is focus. So let's define what is focus. Focus is the brain's ability to concentrate its attention on a target stimulus for a period of time, right? And if we look at research, we will be able to find out that focus is of two kinds. We have scattered focus, wherein a person is capable of looking at the different stimulus in his environment and being able to distribute this focus in all these things so that he'll be able to react as may deemed necessary. However, there is another focus called directed focus, wherein a person would try to focus and eliminate the other things around the environment and focus only on one thing, right? And this is usually the focus that we wanted to extend, the focus that we give in terms of finishing our task, reading a particular subject, reading a particular material. But how do we extend it, right? So the first step is that we need to try to avoid possible distraction. So we can turn off our cell phones. We can also set a particular time, like for instance, you can set 20 minutes of focus, directed focus, and try to avoid possible distractions within this 20-minute period, right? And this has a lot of important basis in research because, as we all know, our ability to focus actually is like the muscle, right? So basically, it can be learned, right? So that leads us to the next tip, right? We need to have proper nutrition and exercise at the same time in order to be able to focus better. According to research, sugary foods can lessen the ability to focus. Although which contains a lot of sugar might be able to help us, but in the long run, it actually leads to lesser ability to focus, right? So we need proper nutrition, we need to eat properly, and at the same time, we need to also conduct exercise. We need to be physically fit in order for us to focus better, right? And remember, the ability to concentrate is like a muscle, and you can get better at it, and you'll be able to develop it if you try to exercise it. But how do we do this, right? How do we do this? Well, there's a practice called mindfulness. And in this mindfulness state, we tend to try to focus on our breathing for a particular period of time. And every time there is a possible distraction in your mind, they usually call this the monkey mind, leads you to thinking of many other things, tends to become like a monkey which jumps from one topic to another. Right? So they call this the monkey mind. And you need to really do this in a very loving and in a very compassionate way. You need to accept that your brain, your mind tends to really jump from one thought to another. And you just gently bring it back to that state wherein you are observing your breathing, right? So you focus on your inhale and exhale for a particular period of time. You can start with 1 minute. Then, if you're done with that, you can also go for 5 minute or 10 minute mindfulness state, wherein you actually exercise that ability to concentrate. And that leads us to the next step that we wanted to also share to our teachers, right? So make it a daily habit since it's a muscle and since it's something that can be developed. and can be exercised, then somehow you need to make it a daily habit to set time for focus, right? So in my case, I work best when I do it early in the morning, right? Or as soon as I arrive in the office, that will be a particular time wherein there's after I do my exercise, there is a one period time wherein it will be set aside for creative work and for reading. It's important also to take regular breaks. So after focusing for 20 minutes straight, then you try to give yourself a 10-minute break. But let's also understand what happens during the breaks. So our common tendency usually when we have a 20-minute time for concentration or for reading, during the breaks given to us, we tend to add more stress to our concentration. What we usually do is we check our phone, we try to watch another video, which also requires focus. Although it's something that is desirable, something that is pleasurable for us. But the thing is, remember, this is like consuming that part, your ability to focus on a particular thing, right? So focus is a limited resource in our body, in our brains. So just imagine a person running. Okay, focus is like running, your stamina in running. So if you are running for the next 20 minutes and you wanted to take a break, will you still do some push up and burpees during that break, right? So you wouldn't do that. Of course, you will stop yourself and disengage from that particular activity in order for you to regain your stamina. So what is usually happening to us when we're taking a break from our focus is that we tend to do that. We tend to be focusing on other things like watching YouTube or watching a particular engaging, funny video. And as a result, we tend to depreciate our ability to focus. Very important tip that we can have is that during our breaks, we need to be able to do some mindfulness meditation, perhaps, or just take a walk, or just take a break, look at outside, and take a real break instead of really consuming your ability to focus that limited resource there for other things. So try to take a walk, practice mindfulness, meditate, and that will definitely help you improve your focus. And the last technique that I would like to share is you try to do that Pomodoro technique. I've been talking about this a while ago. So when you do Pomodoro technique, you set aside 20-minute concentration time. And after that, you take a 10-minute break, right? So after the 10-minute break, you do some meditation. While you're doing your break, you do some meditation. And then after the 10-minute break, you have another 30-minute concentration time. So you take another 20-minute break for that. And then you work for the rest a whole hour. And you'll be able to see that you'll be able to gain the momentum to really focus. These are very important skills, especially right now that we are being distracted by a lot of things. There are a lot of distractions wherever you look around. And for those who will be taking the principles test, for those who will be learning new things, like you're doing your research, that is an investment for your future. This is a long term perspective that you wanted to achieve in the future. So it's important that you learn to focus now. Make this resource something that you can really do in order for you to improve as a person so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to help more learners, more schools with you sharing your expertise to them. And you can only achieve this if you learn how to focus longer.